Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Week 11 NFL Contest Show here on Dead Money Sports. We're coming to you a little bit early. We're not going to have the live stream as I have other things to take care of today and won't be able to sit throughout the entire game. So this will be a brief video. Won't be having the selection show, but we will be looking into where we rank in the top 5, as well as what contrarian picks we have going on this week. We've got the Circa lines up here for Week 11. Obviously, the Jets and Patriots. That was a disappointing game if you took the Jets plus the points, as they lost by 13 on a terrible fumble inside their own 10-yard line that gave the Patriots that field goal to get over the number. And if you took the Patriots in Survivor, congratulations, you're on to the next week. According to Survivor Atlas and the Last Men Standing show, the Patriots are probably going to be the number 1 pick this week. So congratulations to all those who advanced. But we are moving on to our picks for Week 11. And the first pick is the Miami Dolphins minus 2.5. I'm sure this is going to be the public side, but what I saw from the Miami offense last week with their speed in the run game, I don't think the Commanders have anything for them. They're missing more people on offense. They still haven't gotten back their key wide receiver, McLaurin, and now they're missing other guys. Their defense has just been decimated by injuries. They've gotten to the point now where the head coach is now taking over the defensive play calling. That's never a good sign, especially when you're doing this in an international game. Miami has been in Spain, I believe, since earlier in the week, where the Commanders didn't get there until later on. So I think that's going to have an effect. And overall, I just like where the Dolphins are right now. They've got an opportunity to put together a multiple game win streak. If they can win here, their next 2 games are against under 500 opponents, and then they meet the Steelers. If they can win those games, they could potentially be back at 7-7, although their last couple of games of the year are pretty difficult. They could somehow back their way into a wild card spot. I know the AFC is very difficult right now with a lot of very good teams, but I just think the Miami Dolphins have found something to play for. I think they're going to play well in this game, and I just think the speed on the Dolphins' offense is just going to be too much for this Commanders' defense to handle. And the Commanders' offense, they're missing too many important pieces for me to back them. So although I believe this Miami Dolphins team is going to be the public side, it may even be in the top 5 selections, I'm going to ride with Tua, Waddle, HN, and the Miami Dolphins, and hope they can get it done for us this week early in the morning in the first game of the Sunday slate in that international matchup. So my second pick is the Jacksonville Jaguars +3 taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are now having to travel back east again. They've been back and forth. Most of the games this year, I believe they had two home games in a row. Now they're back on the East Coast again, and they've seemed to struggle in this situation. Jacksonville, they're at home. Tough loss in that blown lead against the Texans. That was really just a comedy of errors by them, and it's hard to back a team off a terrible loss like that, but that's what you have to do in these contests, is take the unpopular team, a home team, getting 3 points. They can run the ball. We know the Chargers' offensive line is not very good. Jacksonville can rush the passer. They were living off turnovers early in the season, and I think they could maybe create 1 or 2 in this game. That could be the difference. It's always difficult backing a team that, their quarterback is inconsistent in the way that Trevor Lawrence is, but they can run the ball really well. This is a spot I think they can take advantage of on the Chargers. As long as they can get that outside run going and get some pass rush on Justin Herbert, maybe take away, those shot plays that they like to throw. They've got some decent DBs, so they can match up against this wide receiver group of the Chargers. And I just think this is a bad spot for Los Angeles all the way around, going all the way back east again, swapping time zones after being at home 2 weeks, where they've been doing this back and forth all year. They've definitely racked up the frequent flyer miles, that's for sure. But I'm just taking the team that most people are not going to want to back. They're going to take the Chargers after that primetime win against the Steelers, although their offense did not look very good in that game. They were able to scratch out a win, and they looked good against a weak Pittsburgh offense. But I think this Jacksonville team will be able to run the ball. It'll open it up, the passing game for Trevor Lawrence. And, as long as Thomas doesn't have his drop issues, we've got Myers now in this system a little bit longer, so he's going to know the plan a little bit better. I just think this Jags team is set for a big bounce back after that tough loss against a really good Houston defense, but should have never have lost that game to begin with. The public's not going to want – they're backing the Chargers. Nobody wants to back Jacksonville. So we're going to take the Jags plus the 3, hold our nose on this one, and hope that somehow they can get it done for us at home. Third pick is the Los Angeles Rams -3. This is one of the best games of the Sunday slate. We've got some really good matchups. I just think that the Seattle Seahawks, as well as they've played weaker competition. When they faced the Bucs, when the Bucs were healthy, they lost that game at home. This is a Rams team that's probably one of the best teams they're facing. They're at home against Seattle. So I don't know how much of a home field advantage if the Seahawks fans are going to travel to this game. But this is a good spot for LA, I think. And I want to fade that public perception that Seattle is just this overwhelmingly dominant team, because if you remove like the 2 fumble touchdowns against the Cardinals, that's a different game. Obviously, the Washington game, bad defense. We just talked about that with Miami, and an offense that was missing a lot of their key players. And once that game script got out of hand, it just snowballed on them. Sean McVay, in his career against the NFC West, is 31-20-1 against the spread, and he's 25-9-1 against the spread versus the Cardinals and the Seahawks. So I know McDonald has been better against the spread on the road than he has been at home, but I think this is probably the stiffest competition Seattle's faced in this winning streak that they've been on. And I don't think they're not going to get the turnovers that they've been feasting on against these weaker opponents. Matthew Stafford's playing at an elite level. McVay is really dialing it up with this 13 personnel package that they've been using with multiple tight ends. So it allows them to run or throw out of these formations. Seattle doesn't normally blitz a lot. They try to get pressure with their 4 and create these coverage packages. But Matthew Stafford's seen all that. And as long as this offensive line for Los Angeles can protect Matthew Stafford and keep the pressure off of him, I think they have a real shot at winning this game and covering this number. Obviously, it's on that key number of 3. This could certainly end as a push if the Rams were to win by a field goal. But I just like this spot here for Los Angeles, with Seattle getting all of this public love over their winning streak. But we've seen, if you look at it, Sam Darnold has actually had turnovers in the last few games. They've just been able to mitigate those turnovers. And I don't know if that's going to work against this team. I know getting Rashid Shaheed adds an element to the offense for Seattle, but this defense for Los Angeles is really good, and they're very healthy, and I think they can at least limit the big shots and make Seattle have to work the ball down the field. And if they can get this pass rush going, they could force Sam Darnold into some turnovers. So I'm going to roll with the Rams here. We had them last week against San Francisco. I'm not jumping off the train just yet. I think this Rams team is on a roll. They're playing really well offensively. Sean McVay has got this team firing on all cylinders. And as much as Seattle is also playing really well, I think a lot of that has to do with the competition that they faced. So I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams in this great NFC West matchup this Sunday. My fourth pick is another NFC West team, and that's the San Francisco 49ers -3 Obviously, we went against them last week with with the Rams, but that had a lot to do with the injuries on their defense. Now they're getting a few of those guys back, as well as on the offensive side of the ball. Brock Purdy's going to be playing. It looks like Pearsall might be in the game. If you listen to the press conference after last week's game, Kittle and some of these offensive players were really pissed off at themselves for not performing up to their best, and I think you're going to get the best out of this team. The Cardinals, they struggled in that game against Seattle. The turnovers were the big issue, and I said it, and I should have paid attention to my original analysis, was that Jacoby Brissett is a backup for a reason. And this team is now without Harrison Jr. They're out without Zay Flowers. They're missing one of their offensive linemen. They're still missing their cornerbacks. I think one of the guys might be back, Milton, but he's still banged up. So how much are you going to get out of him? And I just think this defense has been, as well as they've played for the Cardinals, they're about to face this 49ers team that is highly motivated in this game after last week's performance. I think they're going to really run the ball. McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr. are going to open up the play action. They're going to make Jacoby Brissett have to throw the ball. And if you have to rely on Jacoby Brissett to pass you to a win, I'm not biting. So I'm going to take the 49ers laying the 3 points on the road. This is another game that could potentially end in a push if the 49ers were to win by 3. But I just think better team, better offense, better coaching with the 49ers. We know Kyle Shanahan has been better against the spread on the road than he is in Santa Clara. So give me the 49ers minus the 3 in a spot where they are coming off a loss last week and they're looking to get back on track against an NFC West division opponent. I like this game for the 49ers. My fifth and final selection. This is as much of a contest play as it is believing in the Broncos. We know that the Reed Mahomes duo off the bye have been really good, but if you look at the actual underlying numbers, they're only they're 3-3 when facing an opponent with a better record off the bye, straight up. So a lot of times these wins that these Kansas City Chiefs teams have gotten off the bye have been against lesser opponents. This defense for the Broncos can rush the passer. What did we see again with Kansas City when they played Buffalo 2 weeks ago? The pass rush disrupting Patrick Mahomes. When he was under pressure, I believe he was only 3 of 16 on his pass completions. So if this Denver Broncos defense can rush the passer the way they have all season against Mahomes, they could force him into some turnovers. They can limit this offense, keep this score close, and with the plus 3.5 at home with the Broncos, I think this Kansas City Chiefs team is going to be very public because everybody's been, down on the Broncos because the offense has struggled. They didn't look very good against the Raiders on Thursday Night Football, but they're also got the mini bye. They are missing some players, but I think Sean Payton is going to be able to scheme up an offensive game plan against this Spags defense, and particularly the defensive plan against Kansas City should keep the Denver Broncos in this game. And this could very well be a 3-point game because normally the Kansas City Chiefs, when playing good opponents, don't blow them out. They're usually very close games. Even if they win, they don't win by a lot of points. Normally, I don't like taking teams where I think they could cover the spread without winning, but the Broncos have every opportunity to win this game if they can create some turnovers and limit the big shots against Kansas City, make them work the ball down the field to try to score and maybe keep them out of the end zone and force them into kicking field goals. We know the Broncos are a really good fourth quarter team, and they could certainly backdoor this number, get it under that 3.5. So with the hook, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos plus 3.5 as a contest play and just assume that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be the more popular side. We're going to take the 3.5 points with the home team. So my 5 picks for week 11 in the Circa Million contest are the Denver Broncos +3, the San Francisco 49ers -3, the Los Angeles Rams -3, the Jacksonville Jaguars +3, and the Miami Dolphins -2.5. Well, to everyone out there, I hope you have a great week. We need to get that 5-0. We're sitting at 28-22 after our 3-2 week 10. We really need to get this back within the top 100 with 8 weeks remaining in this contest. If we can go 5-0, we will be in the paid positions or right outside the paid positions. We're only in 500th place out of 5,600 entries. So we really need a strong week from our 5 picks. If we do that, we are sitting pretty with 7 weeks to go. Well, to everyone out there, I hope you have a great week. Enjoy the football. Let's make some money and win some games.